You clicked this video because you want to start flipping thrift store finds into actual profit. But you've probably noticed almost nobody breaks down the whole process. They show you a cool find, but not how they knew it was worth buying or how they turned it into cash. So that's what we're doing today. Reselling 101. Start to finish, I'll show you how to find profitable items at thrift stores and how to actually sell them online, the full loop. Now, real talk, this is the beginner version, but the system works. People flip $5 finds into $50 sales every single day. And the reason most beginners lose money isn't that flipping is hard. It's that they buy on a feeling, skip the one check that tells them whether something's actually worth it. Later in this video, I'll show you the exact eBay trick that tells you what any item has really sold for so you never have to guess again. I'm Erin from Side Hustle Mastery. Let's get into it. If you're just starting out, thrift stores are honestly one of the best places to begin. The barrier to entry is low, the cost is low, and you can find undervalued items with real margins. And they carry everything: sporting gear, shoes, cookware, electronics, clothing. You never know what you'll exactly find, but that's also exactly why it feels overwhelming when you first walk in. You're literally standing in front of a sea of donated stuff with no idea what's valuable and what's junk. The fix is simple. Do your research before you're standing in the aisle. Tip 1, YouTube. There are thousands of reselling creators who take you right into the thrift store and show you what they're buying and what it's sold for. Watch a few before you go. It's free education from people doing this every single day. Tip 2, Instagram. Search and follow other resellers. They post their finds and flips constantly, and it quietly trains your eye for what to look for. Tip 3, start with what you know. You almost certainly have a hobby where you know more than the average person. Like if you're into cooking, you're gonna recognize the cookware brands that hold value, like cast iron and vintage Pyrex. If you're into vinyl or vintage tech, you'll spot the gear worth grabbing. You're into fashion, gaming, camping, or crafting, same thing. Start there. You already have an edge, so use it. Keep a running list in a notebook or on your phone of the brands and items to watch for. That list will become your cheat sheet, so hold on to it. So what are you actually hunting for? A few categories are reliable enough that they're worth memorizing before your first trip. Brand name clothing is the most consistent. Patagonia, The North Face, Lululemon, Carhartt, Nike, and vintage band or graphic tees all hold strong resale value. A $5 Patagonia fleece can go for around $40 to $80. And here's a quiet tip: the men racks are usually far less picked over than the women's, so that's often where the deals hide. And I'm speaking from experience. Working electronics and kitchen gear come next. Video game consoles and controllers, older audio equipment, and name brand small appliances like KitchenAid and Cuisinart. The margins are great here. You just want to test anything electronic before you buy if you possibly can, because a broken item you can't return is a dead loss. Then there are books, textbooks, technical manuals, and out-of-print titles regularly go for $15 to $50, and they're dead simple to store and ship. Do not walk past cast iron or vintage Pyrex. The average shopper ignores them, but collectors pay real money for them. Finding a store is the easy part, but which store you go to and when you go matters more than most beginners notice. This is where you get an edge before you've even walked in. Your regular Goodwill and Salvation Army are a fine place to start, but once you're hooked, look up your nearest Goodwill outlet, the ones people call the bins. I'm speaking from personal experience because I love them so much. I went a lot when I was in Seattle. Instead of them being priced individually, everything is dumped into large bins and sold by the pound. It's messier, but the prices are a fraction of a normal thrift store, and that's where the serious resellers dig. Just make sure to bring some gloves because you're gonna need it. Beyond the chains, estate sales and church rummage sales are quietly some of the best sourcing there is. The inventory is one household's belongings, not picked over public donations, so you'll find older, higher quality items that never got flipped by 100 shoppers before you. Timing is the part almost nobody thinks about. Most people shop on weekends, which means by Saturday afternoon, the good stuff is already gone. So go early on a weekday instead, ideally right after stores have processed the weekend's donation surge. You can ask an employee which day they put new stock on the floor and plan your trip around that. Same store, same effort, but you're the first one through the racks instead of the 40th. When I walk into a store, I go around the outside edges first, then weave through the middle so I don't miss anything, but you can start anywhere. If you're brand new, I'd actually start in the section you're most excited about, specifically your area of expertise. If you find something good early, you're far more motivated to keep digging. Momentum matters when you're waist deep into a donation bin. But here's the real question: how do you know if what you're holding is actually worth selling? This is where eBay becomes your best friend. Before you spend a dime, you can check exactly what any item has sold for. It all happens right here on the eBay search results page. This is how you check resale value in about 30 seconds. All right, so we are going to start by searching the exact item that you are holding. So you can type in the brand and the model as specific as you can get. The more specific your search, the more accurate your resale price. I'm just going to put Patagonia jacket men's. If you don't know the specifics, it's okay. You could just type that in. Now here's the whole trick to finding out what something's really worth. So on the results page, we're going to click on the condition filter at the top, and then we're going to select pre-owned. You do this because your thrift find isn't brand new and you want a fair comparison. Then on the left sidebar, we're going to go and scroll down to show only. So it's right over here. And then we're going to click on sold items. So this is how you see eBay's sold prices. So we can see that the prices turn green and each one is stamped with the date that it was sold. Those green listings are what people actually paid, not what sellers are just hoping to get. Those are two completely different numbers and only one of them matters when you're deciding what to buy. Now look at two numbers together. How many are currently for sale? If we scroll down, turn on sold items, then we can see how many were actually sold in the last 90 days. So that ratio is called your sell-through rate and it tells you how fast something moves. If there's more sold than listed, that's strong demand, so it'll likely sell quickly. Flip it around though, if 100 are for sale and only 2 sold in 90 days, you want to leave it behind no matter how cool it looks because it'll just sit in your closet. Say you find a boxed electric hand mixer for $7. So you check the sold listings and good pre-owned ones are landing around $35 to $45 with more selling than are currently listed. That is going to be an easy yes. $7 in, 40 plus out, and that's the whole game in one flip. Now flip it the other way. Say you spot a decorative ceramic vase for $4. It looks nice, so you are tempted, but you check and there are 80 listed and only 3 sold in the past 90 days. That's a dead category. Pretty, but nobody's buying, so put it back. That 30-second check just saved you $4 and a shelf full of stuff that never moves. The math protects you from your own taste. Here's the one part only you can set, your margin. Everyone's number is different. Maybe you buy a mug for $3 and sell it for $8, but after fees and shipping, that is barely a couple of bucks. So is that worth photographing, listing, and packaging? Maybe, maybe not. Or maybe you only chase items you can buy for a few dollars and flip for 50 plus. It's possible, but not something you'll find every single trip. The point is to decide your threshold before you shop so you're not agonizing over every item in the aisle. Once you know what's worth your time, every buy or skip decision becomes instant. Before your next thrift run, let me save you from the traps that sink most first-timers. The first is not checking condition. You get excited, you grab it, and you get home, and then you see the stain, the crack, the missing button, the part that does not work. You want to always inspect an item before it goes in your cart. A flaw you catch in the store costs you a few seconds. A flaw you catch at home is an item you cannot sell. The second is buying broken electronics you couldn't test. If there's no way to power it on and the price isn't low enough that you're fine eating the risk, walk away. The third is emotional buying, grabbing something because it's cool, not because it sells. Cool doesn't pay you, sold data does. And the fourth is impatience. Reselling isn't just buying, it's cleaning, photographing, listing, messaging buyers, and shipping. Go in knowing that and you won't burn out 2 weeks later wondering why this felt like so much more work than you signed up for. Once you found your items, you have to list them because if you don't list it, you can't sell it. So I won't walk through every step, but 3 things matter the most. Number 1, photos. This is your item's first impression. Put the object on a plain background, give it plenty of light, and keep it accurate. Buyers should know exactly what they're getting. No glamour shots, honest photos build trust and cut returns. Number 2, pricing. Go back to those sold prices, take the 5 or 6 most recent sales, average them, and price right in that range. High enough that you're not leaving money on the table and low enough that it actually moves. Number 3, item specifics. Fill out as many as you can. Brand, model, size, color, those fields are how buyers find your listing in search, and a detailed, accurate description means fewer surprises and fewer returns. Once your items are listed, don't just sit back and wait. Use that downtime to set up 2 things now before you've got 50 items and no system. The first is inventory. You need to know what you bought, what it cost, and where it's stored so that when something sells, you can actually find it. eBay lets you assign a custom SKU when you list, so you can put a bin letter right in the SKU field and match it to a simple tracker. If you want a helpful tool for that, you can use Notion, and I'll leave a link below to get started. The second is your finances. You pay taxes on what you sell, so track it from the first day. Even a simple sheet of expenses in and sales out beats scrambling in April. Start small, but start. Last piece of this is shipping. And I could talk about this for 3 hours, but I live by one rule. Pack every item like it's going to get dropped, tossed, and crushed on the way there. If your package can survive rough handling, you're good. And you can print the shipping label right through eBay when the item sells, so there's no separate trip and no guessing on postage. So that's the full loop. Research before you go, know which stores to hit and when, shop your strengths, and verify every single item with eBay's sold listings and sell-through rate before you buy. Then list it with good photos, competitive pricing, and full item specifics, and pack it like it's going to get thrown around. And that's reselling 101. And once you've done it a few times, a $5 find turning into a $50 sale stops being luck and starts being a system. If this got you thinking about your first flip, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I'm Erin from Side Hustle Mastery. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.